Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we are concluding our ranking of the classic and modern Doctor Who seasons and series from worst to best. We are at number 1, my favorite Doctor Who season of all time. Now, my favorite and the one that I think is objectively the best are two different things. The one that I think is objectively the best Doctor Who season ever made was number 2 on my list, which was the one we talked about last week, which was, of course, season 13 of the classic series, which is, of course, Tom Baker's second season, which is phenomenal. I mean, masterpiece after masterpiece after masterpiece. Great. I mean, there's no bad stories in it. They're all at least great. A phenomenal season. The best season I think Doctor Who has ever put out. However, my favorite season, just subjectively, personally, my favorite overall is a different one, and that would be Season 12, Tom Baker's very first season in the role. I absolutely love Season 12, and I think it's not a coincidence that that was the very first season of classic Doctor Who to come out in the collection range. That is the one they started with, and it's a great one to start with. Of course, if you're going to do something like the collection range with classic Who, you want to start with Tom Baker. You want to start, why not, with his first season, not just because it's Tom Baker's first season, but because it's such a good season in its own right. I think even if it's not people's favorite Doctor Who season or even favorite Tom Baker season, I think most fans will agree that it is a really good season, one of the best, with a bunch of phenomenal stories in it. Now, you automatically have two masterpieces right off the bat, which is, of course, Genesis of the Daleks. Now, Genesis of the Daleks is not my favorite Dalek story. It is my third favorite Dalek story. When I ranked the Dalek stories, it was number 3 on the list, as I recall. It is my third favorite, but it is a firecracker of a story. I love it. Some people might claim it drags a little in the middle, but hey, there's an omnibus version if you prefer that. I don't. I think it fills out at 6 parts well. It introduces Davros. This is my favorite performance of Davros. Michael Wisher is my favorite Davros. I love the Dalek designs in this, those kind of gray military-looking Daleks. All they really need is the more modern Who eye, or 60s Who moving eye, and they'd be perfect. They'd be perfect. Tom Baker is great in this. Anytime Tom Baker, or the Fourth Doctor I should say, and Davros have a scene together, it's gold. It is gold. Their dialogue and interactions back and forth are gold. The guy playing Niter, I like him. He's in several stories of Doctor Who, Invasion of the Dinosaurs, the one with the plague, this name I can't remember. Doctor Who and the Silurians. He's always good. But he is just perfect as Niter. Really gets across the group of people they're kind of paralleling there with the Callans. He really feels like he's that. I mean, the acting there is good, and the fact he's that devoted to Davros. I like seeing more of the Thals, and learning that the Thals aren't exactly the good guys we thought they were. They're actually pretty bad too. Maybe not quite as bad, but still pretty bad too. Which I enjoy. It's just such a good story. Of course, the Fourth Doctor's Do I Have the Right speech is one of the most iconic moments in the show's history. Really shows a lot about the Doctor's character and is perfectly executed by Tom Baker. Such a good story. And then, of course, the other masterpiece I think of that season is The Ark in Space, one of the earliest Doctor Who stories I have memory of, Inferno and The Ark in Space. Such a good story. I know people coming from modern Who might have a little trouble with the bubble wrap, the green painted bubble wrap. Keeping in mind when this story was made, bubble wrap was kind of a new invention, kind of a new thing. I think the story is so good, though, it overcomes that. It overcomes its budget. It overcomes the bubble wrap. It is such a good story. And I like the guest cast in this a lot. The woman playing Vyra, the guy playing Noah is really good in this. I really like both of them. They do such a good job. And I think that cliffhanger where Noah pulls his hand out of his pocket, which I think is the end of part 2, I think. When he pulls his hand out of his pocket is one of the best cliffhangers in all of Doctor Who. That is chilling. Especially, I think, if you're younger and you watch it, chilling. That'll keep you awake. And then I like the fact that, much like Seth Brundle in The Fly, it's neat to see that the transformation is not just affecting Noah physically, it's affecting him mentally. It's messing with his mind. when he knows something's wrong and he's trying to fight pressing the button to the point where he even tells Vira to take command, but then you see his mind, and we will consume this world. That's a great piece of acting. Great piece of acting. And I do love at the end that Noah is able to regain his humanity and lead them all onto the shuttle and blow it up to show that he still is, the fact he was able to fight the Weirin that was taking him over and do that. Really good acting. And of course, I enjoy Tom's speech about Homo sapiens. That's a great speech, adorable. I love the arc in space. I do. And I think the Doctor, Harry, and Sarah make a great team. I mean, throughout the whole season, I feel like they make a great trio. I really like this TARDIS team with all three of them in season 12. They're really good together. And I love that. You're improving, Harry. Wasn't taking any credit, of course. It's entirely due to my influence. I love that. I love the Fourth Doctor. And then I still think the other three stories are really good. Robot, I really like. It's basically a post-Pertwee story. If I think of the invasion as a pre-Pertwee story, then I think of Robot as a post-Pertwee story. It's nice to get one last romp with Unit, even though we got some more later. But in this era of Unit, we had that one last story with Unit, and it's nice to see Unit interacting with a different Doctor. Like, I love Invasion because it's basically Unit interacting with the second Doctor. Here we have Unit interacting with the fourth Doctor. I like that because it's a little different and I enjoy it. I love the dialogue for Robot, which I think Robot is Terrence Dicks, if I'm remembering correctly. I'd swear Terrence Dicks did Robot, I think. I love the dialogue. I just love, never liked, what's impenetrable sounds too much like unsinkable. What's that mean? Whatever he says about that, yeah, said the iceberg to the Titanic. I like all that dialogue. I like when he first meets Harry and he's like, you may be a doctor. I'm the doctor. The definite article, you might say. You can't just go out scurrying around, can't I? Well, you know you can't do that, do we? I love the scene when he's picking his costume. He's in like the little Viking outfit. I love when he's picking his costume. I love that scene. It's just, there's so much fun in Robot. I think that's the reason I love Robot. At the end of the day, it's fun. Does the robot look like a man in a suit? Yes. The robot design's nowhere near as good as like Robots of Death or some other stories. It's obviously a guy in the suit and the claws don't even stick up right. But it's part of its charm. It really is. I love the first episode I ever showed. I had a girl I was dating who was a Doctor Who fan like me, the one that I went and saw Deep Breath with in theater, I've mentioned before. But she didn't watch Classic Who. And the first Classic Who story I showed her was Robot. And she loved Robot because she thought it was funny and she enjoyed it. She thought the robot was adorable. Oh, I've killed my creator. Oh. She loved that. She got a kick out of it. And it wasn't like mockingly. She loved it. She thought it was funny. She enjoyed it. So I have that memory. That's part of why that's fun. Why I'm fond of that story as well. Me and her kind of bonded over that story, which is nice. But it is such a fun story. It's a little silly at times, like the robot growing to King Kong size and carrying Sarah around. It's silly, but it's fun. It's so much fun. And then, again, Tom Baker has some nice Kettlewell. You better go with Kettlewell. I love that. I love Robot. Such an underrated story. It's one of my favorite post-regeneration stories. It's not the best one. It's definitely not the best one. I think 11th Hour is the best one, but Robot might be my favorite. It's just so much fun. And then you have the Sontaran experiment, which I think is good because it's smart enough to know it only needs to be a two-parter. Now, if it had been 4 parts, I think it would have been too long. It would have drugged. But as a two-parter, it works perfectly. We get some nice location work. The Sontaran is good. I think this might actually be my second favorite Sontaran story after Time Warrior. I love Time Warrior. But like I said, it has such a short runtime that it never feels like it's going on too long. You know, it basically shows up, it tells its story, and it's done. Now, some of the fight scenes between the Doctor and the Sontaran aren't great. And a lot of that's due to the fact the guy playing the Sontaran wasn't in the best of health. Plus, Tom Baker had broken his collarbone filming this, so his stunt double had to film a lot of the scenes, and they had to just use some close-ups of Tom. That's why you kind of see his arm hidden in the scarf. I mean, once you know that, you can obviously see that. But it is still a good story, and I do still enjoy it. Even if it is my least favorite of the season, I still think it's a good story that's smart enough not to exceed how long it needs to be. And then what I probably would say is the most underrated story in all of Doctor Who, possibly. And that is Revenge of the Cybermen. I love Revenge of the Cybermen. I know some people call it the weak part of the season. I disagree. I think Revenge of the Cybermen is really good. I have gone on about it many times on this channel. I love the Cyberman design, for one. I think Tom Baker is great here. I love the fact Tom Baker's not having any of it from the Cyberman. He is so snarky. I don't know if the Doctor's ever been this snarky with Cyberman, but he's not taking crap from them. Oh, you're just a bunch of tin soldiers floating around in there, or whatever he says there. No, we have destined to rule over the cosmos. No, I don't think so somehow. I love the snark he has when he's threatening them with the bomb. I love all of that. I like how it brings back the kind of virus killing people, and it has the little veiny look, which calls back to Moonbase. I love that little callback to the Moonbase with the little veins popping. That's pretty neat. I love the B plot, the subplot going on on the planet Voga, the little power struggle going on there with the one guy trying to take power, causing the infighting, almost civil war down there. I think that's a great B story. The funny thing is, people praise Earthshock and they insult Revenge of the Cybermen, but it's really the same story. The only difference is scale. I mean, if you think about it, Revenge of the Cybermen has a better Doctor, has better companions. As for the Cybermen themselves, it can go either way, but better Doctor, better companions. Now, Earthshock has a more epic feel to it, and if I was comparing the two, I would say Earthshock's the better story. And of course, it has the companion death, which back in Classic Who was, a rarity, which kind of gives it that emotional punch, which we saw hit us again in Power of the Doctor recently, which, as I'm recording this, just came out about a week ago. So that actually brought some of that emotional punch back. But while I do think Earthshock is the better story, I would never try to say Revenge of the Cybermen is just objectively better. I don't think it is. But it is close. I think it is good. It is Earthshock on a smaller scale. And I love the reuse of Nerve and Beacon. I like that 2 stories in that season take place there. That's a great reuse of budget, a reuse of stuff to save on budget. And it works. It makes sense, in the point of the story. So I really like that. And again, I like some of the dialogue. I love the filming down in the caves. The fact that, and probably the only time ever in Classic Who, they actually had some budget left over by the time they got to the end. And they actually got to film in caves instead of having like CSO stuff like Underworld. They actually got to go, and the location work in the caves looks great. I really enjoy it. And I love Tom. Harry Sullivan is an imbecile! I love that. I love Revenge of the Cybermen. A great story. All 5 of these stories are really good. They're fun. And they're different. They have different feels to them. They all feel different tonally, which I like. So if I'm in the mood for this story, something that's fun, I got Robot. Something that's scary, I got Ark in Space. Something short and sweet that doesn't overstay its welcome, I got Sultaran Experiment with some good location work. If I want, masterpiece epic, I've got Genesis. And if I want more fun that's not appreciated enough, I have Revenge of the Cybermen, which is a great Cyberman story with some great location work and some great studio work. So I love Season 12. It's my favorite season of Doctor Who, with one of the best Doctors of all time, with one of the best companions of all time, and with another good companion as well. And I can understand exactly why it was the first season chosen for the collection range. So I want to know what you think of Season 12. And I want to know what your favorite season of Doctor Who is, or series of Doctor Who is. So comment down below and let me know. I want to give a shout out to Paul Bailey, as it was his idea originally to rank these on a weekly basis, like 1 episode per season. And I thought that was a really clever idea. He's actually working on his ranking as well. So I did want to give him a shout out, especially in this last video. So excellent idea, Paul. Excellent idea. I also want to give a shout out to 2 of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane and Colin Coney. I really appreciate their continued support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. If you're interested, a link to my Patreon is down in the description below, and that helps me pay the bills, so I certainly appreciate if you would check that out. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me. That's down there as well, as is a link to my Amazon wish list and a link to my Amazon UK wish list. But if nothing else, if you're watching for the first time, or if you have been watching a while and just haven't subscribed yet, I'd appreciate you clicking that subscribe button. That helps me out, helps me beat up the YouTube algorithm, and I certainly appreciate that. I think at the time I'm recording this, which is in October of 2022, tomorrow is Halloween actually, looking forward to that. I think I'm at like 831 subscribers. I'm curious where I'll be by the time this airs. Trying to hit 1,000, that's my goal, hit 1,000. So go ahead and click that button and click that thumbs up button. I appreciate that. Most importantly though, thank you for watching.